Hello, my name is James and welcome to Mirror Domains. And in this video I'm going to be counting down the best and worst movies that I saw during 2019. Yes, it's the best of 2019 and the worst. I'm just going to go through the year and recount some of the ones that I've seen, and I will leave a list below in the description, the amount of movies that I saw. Now this is coming out just a little bit later because, well, it just took me a while to finish off seeing the ones that I wanted to see to make sure that my list was going to be as comprehensive as I could make it, even though I don't have the unlimited budget to watch everything. So that's why I'm putting the list below so you can see how many movies I saw and where the best and worst are coming from. So this is going to be a rather lengthy video, and we're going to just try to get through it, and we're going to go through the year, starting with January, and I'm going to pull it up on the side here, and just some posters, and let's get to it. So January 4th, Escape Room. Very good film. I like that horror film. It was a good way to start off the year. I felt like it was kind of like a sleeper hit. People just thought it was going to be trash, and it actually turned out to be pretty good. Replicas. A lot of people didn't like that movie. Keanu Reeves. But I have a soft spot for Alice Eve, and I really liked Replicas. I thought it was an okay film. The Upside was a very good film. That was one of the better films of the year. Kevin Hart just puts on a good performance in that film. And so did Cranston. I'm surprised that not a lot of people actually talked about it. It came and went and people forgot about it. It was very good. Okay, Glass. Yeah, I like Glass, but it wasn't epic. It wasn't a masterpiece of a film. It was obviously the third film in the Unbreakable and Split movies where they're telling this tale of superheroes, and it was fascinating. It wasn't one of the worst films. I would say, yeah, it was definitely worth checking out. Serenity, that was a weird one. McConaughey, yeah. Continuing on, Miss Bala, I didn't see that. Oh, Velvet Buzzsaw was on Netflix. That one was very good. I like the acting. Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo, they're like art dealers and critics of the art world, and then it goes into this weird kind of psychedelic trip. I liked it, but I can understand that a lot of people didn't because it was kind of on the nose at some points, and it would maybe just be a touch too abrasive for some people. Cold Pursuit, Liam Neeson putting his normal action film there forward, and I actually kind of like that one. The other day I was thinking I want to revisit that one. It's a nice little, Liam Neeson's known for these nice little action films in the winter months, and that was a good one. The Lego Movie Part 2 was one of the worst movies of the year for sure for me. I was really expecting much more from that film. I thought it was good. The first one was good, but this one was not good. This one was boring, and the music, I know that a lot of people like the music, but I didn't like the music. I found myself wishing that I had a fast forward button to get through this movie because I was just like, ah! All right. That's all I want to say about that. Continuing on. Birds of Passage. Happy Death Day to You Too. Yeah, that was the sequel. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was a little bit more eye-opening. Yeah, it was okay. I liked it. Alita Battle Angel. I'm ashamed to say that I missed that one in the theater. I was just kind of like, the CG looks a little bit questionable, but then when I saw it at home, I was kind of like, oh my God, I missed it. I screwed up. I messed up. I should have seen Alita Battle Angel, and I recommend that you guys see it too. It's not on the best list. It's definitely not on the worst list for sure. It'll be more inclined to be on the best list, but yeah, it's a sleeper hit that I think you guys will enjoy. It's a little bit long though. A little bit long. Okay, continuing on. I'm just going to highlight some of the good ones and try to move through this at a somewhat moderate pace. Greta, one of the worst films of the year for sure. I was really expecting high hopes for that one. Chloe Grace Moretz and this creepy old lady that seduces young women to be their friends by leaving her bag in places, and then, it's terrible. Don't even watch that film. It's garbage. Complete garbage. Okay, continuing on. Triple Frontier was a Netflix film with a whole bunch of stars in it. that you will recognize: Hunnam, Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, the guy Pedro Pascal, the guy who plays the Mandalorian. And it was a great cast, and I felt like it was a man's movie. I'm not sure if a lot of women will like it because it has that testosterone level to it, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. March, moving on, Captain Marvel. Well, that's not a testosterone film, and I liked it, but it's something that I don't want to rush back to go and watch again, you know? It was kind of like I was watching it more or less because it was part of the Avengers universe, and I wanted to see how it was going to tie into the Avengers because Endgame was coming out in a month or so afterwards, so I wanted to see how it was going to tie into that. That was more interesting to me than what the actual movie was about. Captive State, one of the worst films of the year. There we go. It was about aliens that, have enslaved humans, and you gotta do and live life by their rules. Otherwise, it's over for you. It had some interesting ideas. It just wasn't executed all that well. Nancy Drew, I wanted to see that one. That was with the girl from the It movie who played Beverly Marsh. I never saw that. The Hummingbird Project. Never saw. Mustang, I hear good things. That's one of the leftover ones that I wish I had seen. Highwaymen was boring. Us, that'll be on a lot of people's best list of the year. Not for me though. I felt like it fell apart in the third act. The third act didn't really work all that well for me. Dumbo, yeah. The Beach Bum. Pet Sematary remake. I liked it. It was kind of a different take of switching up the kids who get hit by the truck. It was okay, but I still prefer the original just because the smaller kid was much more creepy, much more sinister. Shazam! There we go. That's going to be one of the best lists of the year for sure. For a lot of people, it was a sleeper hit, I think, for most people, because they were kind of not sure what they were getting into. This is taking place in the DCEU, but it's not, sort of. But is it really? And it was a fun ride for me. The third act, I just wasn't quite on board with it, but I did like the tone of it, and I can't wait for the second one to come out because, Black Adam and The Rock is going to be playing him, so eventually they're going to tie into each other and have their big fight, and that would be cool. Continuing on, Hellboy. No, you don't want to see that one. That one wasn't that good. Okay. Once I'm done at this list, I see Masters E. Ip Man Legacy here. I'm going to add in 2 foreign films that I saw during the year that did make the list. I'll put the first one right now. Manikarnika. Manikarnika came out earlier in the year, and it was the first foreign film out of India that I actually went to the theater to see, and it was my first experience, and maybe I was just blown away by it all, but I liked the cast, I liked the music. It was a nice introduction for me to seeing films in the cinema from them, and I just kind of hold a special place in my heart for that one. It was just, and I like the story. Okay, and the other one I'll talk about later. Breakthrough, Penguins. No, I never saw those ones. Continuing on, The Curse of La Llorona. It takes place in the Conjuring universe. It was kind of creepy. I liked the setup for it, but it kind of fell apart towards the end. It did have some decent scares, but it just wasn't the best. You know what I'm saying, man? Avengers Endgame, one of the best of the year. It did end up on my top 5 list. And, you can't say enough praise for that one. Everybody knows why that's going to be on the top 5 list of the year. It's a masterpiece in its epic scale of all these films led up to this final climax, and it doesn't let you down at all. The Long Shot was pretty good. I like that one. Seth Rogen, Charlize Theron. The Intruder. Did I see The Intruder? No, I didn't. All Is True. Charlie Says, My Son, Detective Pikachu. I missed that one. I missed that one, and I saw The Hustle instead. And God, The Hustle was one of the worst films of the year for sure. I was just so cringeworthy. I should have walked out of the theater in that one. It was just no. Pikachu. I didn't see that one, which is still on the must see list. But I didn't feel like that one was going to be in contention for worst or best of the year. Okay, Shaun the Sheep. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. That's going to be on the best list for sure. It was on mine when I first saw it. It's great action, great stunts, fighting. It's just, I love the John Wick franchise because it's short, it's sweet, it's simple in its delivery, and it's just well done overall. Wow. And Halle Berry. Ooh. Okay, Booksmart. Aladdin. I didn't bother with that one. Guy Ritchie, I know. I should have seen it, but I didn't. Booksmart, I was late to that one. It's a coming of age story of kids going to a high school party, and I didn't know that going in. It was caught off guard with how weird it got at times, and I dug that. I liked that, but it was just a little too hokey towards the end. Hokey. What was not hokey towards the end was Brightburn, which was kind of like the evil kid Superman, and I liked that one, and it was heartbreaking. I know a lot of people didn't like it because of how grim and gruesome it was. It wasn't a feel-good story for sure, especially with that ending. I'm a mama's boy, so that really hit hard for me. That ended up on my best, it'll be on the best 10 of the year, I think. Godzilla will be on my best 10 of the year because I related to the father-daughter story. I like that. And of course, then you get to see Godzilla, Ghidorah. I mean, come on. Rodan, Mothra. That was just cool. You don't expect something deep and, I don't understand why people were expecting to see nonstop monsters fighting each other for 2 hours. I don't know why people expected that. I really don't. But for me, the human story worked. It worked for me. Ma, creepy, very creepy. I like Ma. Rocketman, Taron Egerton, great performance. And the music was well done. He sang the songs. I felt like that easily could be on the best list for a lot of people. His acting for sure. Dark Phoenix, I love the cast, but the story and the execution. I'm so happy Bryan Singer's off the project, booted off, and then I'm so happy that series is over now and we can move on. They're back in the MCU now, so they're under Feige's control. So, okay, scrolling on. Let's take a look at Shaft. Did I see Shaft? No. Men in Black International. One of the worst movies of the year. Easily one of the worst movies of the year. Hands down. That's going to be on the worst list. Anna. I missed that one. I wish I needed to see Anna. It was kind of like a female John Wick from what I was told. Child's Play remake. It would have worked if it wasn't called Child's Play. I kind of liked Mark Hamill as the voice of Chucky. That worked, but it was just no, not very well done. I never saw Toy Story 4. I mean, come on, I'm an adult. I don't need to see kids' movies. Annabelle Comes Home, the third movie in the franchise, and I actually kind of liked it. It was fairly good. Avengers Endgame. What? Was that re-released? I can't remember. Anyway, I already spoke about that one, as I said. Continuing on, Yesterday, the story about this alternate universe where this guy gets hit in the head and nobody's heard of the Beatles. I liked it for the music. It's supposed to be a feel-good love story, but it's also kind of gruesome. Or not gruesome, but it's kind of grim. It's down because you realize that some of them are still alive, and I just kind of like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that one. Midsommar, as some people pronounce it. I always say Midsommar because 2 hours it was just too long. If it was 90 minutes, nice and tight and condensed, it would have been much better. It was just drawn out. You know that they're all going to get brutally murdered, and it's just drawn out. And I was just I couldn't get on board with it. Spider-Man Far From Home ended up on my top 5 list of the year. I felt like that one was fairly good. I thought it was just the relationship between Peter and MJ was the best part for me. And of course, Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, I felt like that reveal and all of those twists and turns were really well done. And I just liked the feeling of it. You came out of it feeling happy, kind of like, yeah, that was cool. I like that one. Okay. Crawl. Yes, Crawl. That was a good horror movie. Quick little short movie about alligators during a hurricane. They break into a house and, you got to get to the roof so you don't get swallowed. The Farewell. I started to watch that one, but the copy that I had didn't have subtitles, so I couldn't finish watching it. I hear good things about the acting. And maybe it could have ended up on the best list. I'm just not sure. The Lion King. Yeah. I'm not going to even talk. Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tarantino. It's a long film, and I can understand people saying that it's not his best film, but there's some payoffs in this that in my theater, people were cheering at when certain things happen. And Brad Pitt does a great performance, and you will know that when you're watching it. He's just dialed in to that level, and he's complimented by Leo. You would think that Leo would steal the show, but he's complimented by him. Even though that in the movies, it's supposed to be that Leo's the prize, and Brad Pitt's the kind of like the side character. It's actually the opposite when you're watching it. And it's kind of cool like that. Margot Robbie, obviously. I can understand people saying that her character wasn't really necessary, but it's once upon a time in Hollywood. It's small chapters of things that happened during around that time. And if you get invested with the Brad Pitt storyline, then it does have some payoffs. Hobbs and Shaw. I wanted to see Loose. I didn't see it. And Nightingale's still on my must-see list because I hear that it's a really dark film that I want to see. Ekko. Never saw it. Scary stories to tell in the dark. Good horror film. Nice little horror flick that has like multiple stories weaved in throughout. I like that. Peter Butter Falcon. Good acting. Shia LaBeouf helps like this Down syndrome guy try to realize his dreams of becoming a wrestler. Yeah, I like that film. Okay. Come on, jump out at me. Ready or Not, a horror film about a family that tries to kill the bride of these newlyweds so that the family can survive and they don't get crushed by some evil forces. It was okay. If you want to see a better version like of this kind of theme of this premise, watch a film called Would You Rather from 2013, I think it was, where it's basically the same kind of thing. These people get trapped in a house and they're slowly being killed by playing this game. Angel Has Fallen. I didn't see it. Brittany Runs a Marathon. I hear it's a festival darling and people who have seen it have liked it. I never saw it. Official Secrets. Okay, continuing on. It Chapter 2. I know that a lot of people didn't like it because it was 3 hours and it was the adult story and we didn't get to see much of the kids and it wasn't as fun as the first movie, but I felt like these two movies are really meant to be seen as one big piece. And I that's the way I felt when I was watching it. I felt like I was watching one big movie and here's the final part to it. And I never felt like the Chapter 2 had to stand on its own to be good. I felt like it needed to have the first one to be as its complement. And I like the second one a lot because of the actors involved. And Jessica Chastain, I mean, come on. Depraved. Did I see Depraved? Sounds familiar. Sounds very familiar. Hustlers. That was a late one that I was late to the party too. Jennifer Lopez does a great acting performance in it. And yeah, the acting is pretty good. It's a nice little film that I think you guys should check out if you ever have the time. It's going to be on the recommended list. The Goldfinch I really wanted to see, but then it was tanking at the box office so hard. I was kind of like, yeesh. Ooh, maybe I should stay away from this one. And Ad Astra, that's a divisive one. A lot of people didn't like it. I sort of hated it when I first saw it, but on retrospect, I was kind of like, I understand what they were trying to do. But it's just one of those ones that was kind of a letdown for me when I first saw it. But I can understand why people liked it because it does have that kind of artistic side to it that hardcore sci-fi fans could latch onto, and I understand that. Downton Abbey was a fun time at the movies for me. I never saw the series, but this was a self-contained movie that set things up so you didn't have to watch the series. But it was just a nice little story, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And there was lots of laughs in the theater during that too. Rambo 5: Last Blood. I liked it. But it wasn't great or terrible. Abominable was good. I needed to see Judy because of this performance from Renee Zellweger that will probably win best actress. Dolomite Is My Name. Oh, that was a great film. Eddie Murphy was really top notch in this film. I totally recommend you guys seeing this for sure. Wesley Snipes was good in this too, and it's got people in it that you'll be like, "Hey, I know him. I like this movie. What's going on here?" Yeah, it's just a good film. It's a little bit long though. And just know that watching it, and it does have some good payoffs for you guys to say, "Yep, that's a good movie." And Dolomite Is My Name is a good movie. Okay, I'm going to pause here and talk about the second foreign film that I saw around this time. It was Sajo with Prabhas, and I was really anticipating that film, and I really wanted it to be like really cool, but they used some of the same story tropes too many times, and it just lost itself. Gemini Man. I heard bad things, so I never bothered to see it. Parasite is on the best list of the year for sure. It's a foreign film. It's Korean, and it was kind of like, you hear things about it being one of the better films of the year, and you're watching and you're kind of like, is this really the best thing? And it's kind of like, I can understand that they're setting up this war of classes, and then it just goes into this weird direction, and you're just kind of like, ooh, sucked into it. Good film. Great film. Jay and Silent Bob is one of the worst of the year. That opening scene, the acting is atrocious. Kevin Smith has lost his touch. He can't direct actors anymore. It's so contrived and... Man, what happened to you? Jojo Rabbit. Festival darling. It was nominated for a lot of things at the Oscars. Acting, story. Yeah, I can understand why, but for me, I didn't like it that much. I felt like it didn't pay respects to the war as much as it should have. You know, it was, yeah. I'm not going to talk about that much. Maleficent 2, I was late to. Maleficent 2, I was really late to. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked it actually more than Jojo Rabbit. I'll tell you that straight up. Because I liked Angelina Jolie, and I like this universe that they were setting up. It just has that fantasy vibe to it. Full fantasy. Full straight up. And I like that part about it. That's what I like. Just going off into this whole different world. And it did a fantastic job at doing that. Zombieland 2 was a fun ride at the movies. A very fun ride at the movies. What can I say about that one? I like the cast, and it just has some really funny parts to it too. Yeah, and they made a decent way of bringing back Bill Murray. I felt like that was really well done. Yeah, check that one out. That one was good. Okay, continuing on. We're getting through it, guys. We're getting through it. The current war, Killing Team. Harriet, I hear good things. I never saw it. It wasn't in wide release where I was. Terminator Dark Fate, yeah, guys. Whew. Yeah. There are things about it that I like so much because I'm a Mackenzie Davis fan. And I just wanted so much from this one. I liked Arnold in it, but I just felt like, yeah, it was meh. Irishman. Almost 4 hours. Good performances. You got to watch it because it's a staple, right? It's Martin Scorsese. He's doing a gangster film again. You got to see Pacino, De Niro, and Pesci. They all get scenes to interact with each other. It's just one of those things where if you're a student of film, you're going to want to watch that film. If you're a student of acting, filmmaking, as I said, and it's just yeah, you got to check that one out. Is it one of the better movies of the year? It's not one that I would have to say you have to see out of this year, but it's going to be on the top 15 list. Marriage Story. Good acting. Great acting all around. The script and the dialogue is very well done. The story, I'm not too, it's not one of the better movies of the year because it kind of falls apart towards the end where you're kind of like, they're leaving story threads, loose. Dr. Sleep is one of my, it's a sentimental movie for me. I like this movie. It's going to be on my top 5 of the list of the year, because it's just, I was never expecting anything like this to ever come along. It was the sequel to The Shining. Ewan McGregor's playing the older Danny Torrance. There's people like him out there, and then there's people that are trying to attack people with gifts, and I relate to that. I relate to that hardcore, and of course, I fell in love with Rebecca Ferguson in this movie. Midway, good film. Good war movie. I like that. This is what I meant by paying proper respects to the war. I preferred Midway over Jojo Rabbit because, the war scenes were just well done, spectacular. Charlie's Angels. I wanted to see that, but I heard bad things. Ford v Ferrari. That's a good one. If people are saying that Bale is the performance to watch, he did a good performance, but for me, I felt like Matt Damon actually was a bit better. And there's a scene at the end, towards the end there, where he's talking with Christian Bale's son, and that stood out to me as the most significant acting scene, and that came from Matt Damon. And you watch it for the acting, watch it for the driving. If you're a gearhead, you're going to love this movie. Ford v Ferrari is definitely going to be on the top 15 list of the year. The Report, it didn't play in wide release near me. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see The Good Liar too. Okay, guys, we're getting through it. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I haven't seen it, but I wanted to. I hear the performance is worthwhile from, that guy. Frozen 2, never saw it. Knives Out. The Two Popes, I heard. I need to see that. It's on Netflix. There's no reason why I shouldn't have seen it. I just hear that it's boring. But the acting I hear is good. Code 8, never saw. Little Joe, never saw. Okay, let's not waste time. Richard Jewell, I wanted to see so badly. Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler, you will want to see this one because of the acting. His performance is one of the better performances of the year. I was shocked that he didn't get nominated for it. The story, you just want to strangle this guy at some points. That's how well it's done. It's kind of like, what are you doing, man? Stop it. And you're just like, you think he's going to get away with this big heist towards the end. And it's kind of like, you got to see it, man. You just got to see it. Bombshell, good acting all around. Great acting. Very sensitive subject matter, though. Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, I didn't hate it. I felt like it was probably the best out of the franchise, out of the sequel trilogy for me. I felt like it was the best. 1917, this is the last one on the list that I've seen. I didn't see Little Women. I probably should have, though. 1917 is a big one that's going to get directing and Best Picture nods. Directing for sure. I think that's going to win for directing. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture because when I saw it, I was kind of like, it's good, but it's missing something. It's missing a punch of something. And I think they were trying to say that the cameos in it were going to be like the big punch that push you over the edge, but it's missing that epic feel that Saving Private Ryan had. It didn't have that scope, and maybe it just had to do with the time that it was told in. I just didn't think it was the best picture. Okay, so that's the end of the year, and that's all the movies that I saw. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up a list here on the side of just some ones that I've picked out, and we're going to just quickly go through them and to say what was the best and what was the worst. On the right there, I put the worst. The Hustle, Greta, Cat of State, Hellboy. I shouldn't have put Ad Astra there. I originally wanted to. Ready or Not, I should have. Okay, but the top two are The Hustle and Greta are the worst films of the year for me because Greta, I was really wanting something from it, but it was, no. And The Hustle, that's got to be the worst of the year. The Hustle, without a doubt, is the worst film of 2019. And here on the other side is the best of the year. Some notables up top. Oh, The Hole in the Ground. The Hole in the Ground was a nice little horror film that came out earlier in the year about, this kid who gets lost in the woods, and then the mother finds him near this hole in the ground, and then the kid begins acting all weird. Nice little film. Really weird, though. It's cool, though. Okay, so going down the rest of the list, this is the ones that most people will talk about, at least from my list. And the notables, I'm thinking that these are going to be the top ones that would end up on my top 10 list if I were to put together a top 10, but I'm not. I'm just going to give you my top 5. Okay, here is the top 5 as it was going in before I saw Parasite. And Parasite is going to be on this list. Now, last year I decided that every movie that I watched, I was just going to update my top 5 list. I would say, well, does it belong on the top 5 list? And it worked. It did work, but it did change towards the end. It did morph. Because while I feel like this is my sentimental list, except for now, I'm going to change. I'm going to take Spider-Man Far From Home out. It was a sentimental pick. Parasite needs to be in there for number 2 right now. And I'm just thinking, yes, that's a good list right there. I like that list. It's got some variety, but it's not going to be something that out of 2019, you have to watch this movie. You have to watch Avengers Endgame. Well, yeah, you do. But if I only had to pick one or two, then Avengers Endgame would not be on that list. It wouldn't be on the top 2, which is kind of like, what? You have a top 1 right now. And I didn't talk about Joker much when we went through the year there, but because I'm going to talk about it now. Joker, by far, is going to be the number 1 movie of the year for me that I would say, out of all the movies that are on the list that came out, it's got great acting, it's got great directing, it's got a good story, it's got good cinematography and score. Those are my 5 factors, guys. The watchability factor. It's just got so many things going for it that are just kind of like, it's an artistic piece. You got to see it because you're going to be thinking about it afterwards. You're going to be like, Joaquin Phoenix is going to be winning the best actor. He has to, because it's mesmerizing how good he is. And out of all this year, if there's one film that I would say you have to see out of all the list, I would tell you to see Joker. You got to see it. It's just, wow. And that's my number 1. And that's how things are going to change. Because although I do think that Avengers Endgame is my probably favorite because it's just cool to watch, Joker's got to be the one that I got to recommend. And Parasite's staying number 2. Then Avengers Endgame. Manikarnika is going to be the foreign film that makes the list because, as I said, I like the acting, I like the story, the songs. It's just beautifully shot. It's just a foreign film that a lot of people aren't going to see because, well, hey, look at that. I got 2 foreign films on my list. Yeah. And then Dr. Sleep is my sentimental one where it's just kind of like, that's going to be my top 5. That's my top 5 that I like. What did you think? What was on your top 5? What was something in here that you would have? Would you have Jojo Rabbit? Would you have Ford V Ferrari in here? Because maybe some of you haven't seen my top 5. And that's why I wanted to share my list with you guys, because there could be some on here that you haven't seen that you probably should because they're good. These are all good films. There's not something about them that you'll be like, ew, what are you talking about? That's not very good. Dr. Sleep is a good film. It's a really well-crafted film. Okay, so that's my top 5. This year, I'm not going to go through it like this and update the top 5 list as I go through. Because as I said, I realize now that things change throughout the year. There's my sentimental picks for sure, but then at the end, when I'm trying to think things through and really thinking about the one that I have to promote the most that you guys have to see, it does change up my list. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently this year. I'm going to maybe do it by quarters. We'll see. But that's my top 5. And my worst is The Hustle and Greta. So you guys, let me know in the comments below what your top favorites were. And I'm very curious to find out. Okay, that's it. YouTube is recommending a video for you to watch right there, and you can see my latest one just right up here. My name is James, and you're watching Mirror Domains. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe right there.